What is up again, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream Sunday. As you can tell, we got Scream ranking going on today. And as you can see by this lovely face, I got a special guest on here with me. Eric from the Bearded Entertainment is in the house. Eric, what is up, my brother?
Not much. Getting over some technical difficulties and some frustrations there, but
It happens. It happens.
thanks for having me for Scream, the best franchise.
Hey,
Um,
I
I
can
I
respect it.
best slasher franchise. I've got a series that I'm starting to record right now where I'm doing this grading scale
Uh,
of the slashers. Scream is by far the top rated. So
dude,
this
that's
isn't personal either. I'm
yeah,
not
no,
putting any of
no.
mine. This is from different sources, and I'll get more into
Yeah,
it in the videos. But Scream
that's
is by
awesome.
far the top rated.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've always said I think Scream collectively is the most consistent franchise. Everyone
It's
who knows
not.
my
Do you know
you don't
what
think so?
I know it's not because that's one of the metrics I look into is
Really?
how consistent the deviation between the highest rated and the lowest rated. You know what the most consistent is? It's by like literally a fraction of a point.
Is it
It's
Evil Dead?
Chucky.
Chucky, really?
Chucky is
Oh
very
man.
consistent. I mean, it's not the highest rated at all by any
Right.
means, but it's very consistent. Like each
That's
movie,
crazy. I would not have guessed Chucky.
bro, I'm learning so much from doing these videos, like
Yeah.
just doing the research for them, like and compiling everything. Chuck, it's
Wow.
like I said, it's not even a single point. It's like a fraction of a point.
Fraction, really close.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's Chucky is very consistent. Scream is the next most consistent.
Gotcha. That's crazy because Chucky. I mean, Chucky has some great movies, but they've also got some just fucking
See, the thing is though, like,
bad.
and this is also what makes Scream up there.
Yeah,
They don't have a lot. Like Scream's got 6 movies.
that's
You look
true.
at Friday, you look at
That's
Halloween,
true.
they've each got like what 12, 13 movies.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the highs now I'll say this, like for Halloween, the highest in Halloween is far better than the highest in Scream.
sure.
It is. But the lowest in Halloween is so far below the lowest in Scream. So like it brings it down, man. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there's some duds in there. And Scream, in my
right.
opinion, doesn't have a dud. Like it
No,
doesn't.
no.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
6 solid movies.
yep. Yeah, for me, like I mean, everyone on my channel knows I'm a Halloween guy. Michael's my boy, but I've always felt like if I was gonna watch a franchise from start to finish, it would be Scream because I know Scream. I personally like all 6 movies. Now, there's degrees to which I like the movies, but even like my lowest is still a movie that I would be down to watch almost any given day. I'd be like, okay, cool, yeah, you want to throw on this movie? I'm fine with that. Where Halloween, like I actively tried to avoid the bottom like 3 on my list.
Resurrection.
Yeah.
You want
Rob
to know what
Zombie's
I
Halloween
learned?
2.
This is the last bit of tidbit before we
Yeah,
get,
yeah, yeah.
Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 is
Yeah.
actually top 6.
Really?
According to these
Really?
different rankings around, and I pulled from 9 different ranking sites.
That's crazy.
It's top 6. It almost top 5.
Wow.
It peaks at number 6
That's crazy. Of all of them. Of
of
like,
the whole franchise. Yep.
wow. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I wonder which ones they have above it, but I'll wait for him to
Yeah, I was
see
about to
because
say I'll
yeah,
be
it'll be
throwing it out there
interesting.
pretty soon. I got a wild hair the other day because I
Yeah.
saw something on Reddit where people did this. It was like a collective thing where it was like it's like the top 100 TV shows of the 20th century, and they had all the ranking sites lined up and what their individual scores were, and then they
Right.
averaged it out. And I'm like, that's such a good idea. I wonder what horror franchises. I'm sticking with slashers at the moment,
Right.
but I was like, I wonder which ones have been.
That's awesome.
So
That's
I've
so cool that you're
done
doing that.
Friday, Nightmare, Halloween, Scream, Chucky, and Leprechaun.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't venture to
Oh,
bet
and
the
Hellraiser.
Leprechaun would score that high.
Nope.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
and I also did Hellraiser. I think I'm on
Hellraiser. Okay,
the slashers. Oh, Texas Chainsaw. Did Texas
TCM.
Chainsaw.
Oh yeah. You got to throw TCM in there.
I might throw Hatchet in there, but of the big slashers,
Yeah,
I'm keeping it. You got to have 4 movies to be considered a franchise. To me.
gotcha.
You only got 3. It's only a trilogy. Like I'm
Yeah.
Pearl, X, and Maxine. That's only
Right,
movies. So,
right.
yeah,
Interesting.
at Hatchet, and that's going to be,
Yeah,
a week for a couple
yeah,
months.
dude, that'd be fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys have not gone over to Eric's channel yet, go do so. Smash the like button, subscribe to his awesome channel. He and I asked him to be on here because Eric's a big Scream fan. So I was like, dude, I gotta bring him on for this one. So we've been talking about getting him back on. So I'm glad we're able to do it. And real quick, thank you, Jerry Wilson, in the housing. Let's hit this. Please smash the like button. Thank you, Jerry, for that. Always good to have you here. All right. So what we'll do here is I will do share screen. Let's see if this works. It was working earlier. Hopefully it works again. All right. So it's going to be in the form of a tier bracket. We have the movies down here at the bottom. We have two copies for each movie, one for Eric and one for me. And what I'll try to do is keep Eric's list on the left, my list on the right, but we have them numbered 1 through 6 because there's 6 movies. So we'll just kind of go through this, man. We have not discussed this before, so this will be a genuine reaction to our rankings.
We can probably assume what's going to be number 1.
Yeah, I think 1 is probably pretty safe bet on that one. But 2 through 6, man, I'm interested to see because my list, I know when I've shared like my list with people, they look at me like, especially my 2 and 3, they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I thought that's kind of like normal." So I don't know. How
We'll
it's
see,
gonna be
man. We'll
this week,
see.
but yeah, we'll see. But
I don't think there's a wrong answer here. That's the thing. Like with this,
no.
I think they're all good movies, and I want to say that one last time.
Yes,
I think they're all good movies. I'm about to point out some negatives with some of them,
right,
but
right.
I still like them. Like I thoroughly enjoy each one.
Yes,
But
me too.
some of them have more complaints than others.
Right. Yeah, and that's very important to point out. Yeah, all 6 of these movies are good movies. They don't have a bad film in my opinion. So that being said, Eric, you are the special guest, sir. So I will let you go first, my man.
Okay, rounding out my the bottom of the list for me, the one I
Uh-huh.
had the most issue with is going to be Scream 5 from 2022.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so
All right.
here's the thing, like I was so excited for Scream to come back after what 11
Yeah.
10 11
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a huge jump in time, but and when I initially saw the movie, I was very happy with it. But the more I watched it, the more problems I noticed with it.
Uh-huh.
One of which we brought back the main 3 characters, Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. We never got them all on screen together before Dewey died. We never got a Sydney Dewey scene together again before they died. And now we won't ever have that option again.
Right.
The motive, I'll come back to the motive because that's a little
Okay.
bit of a niche thing, but it's the boyfriend of the boyfriend of the protagonist is the killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of recycled. The motive is what got me. The motive is, as we saw, the stab movies have become stale because they didn't have any, real life murders to base it on.
Right.
There's a Scream fan film that came out 11 years ago that the motive in that Scream fan film is the exact same. The killer says almost word for word what Richie says.
Interesting.
That was 11 years ago that someone said this.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Dude, I'll send you the clip.
Yeah.
I'll send you the clip, but he's like, I'm not even kidding, dude. In the kitchen with the knife, holding it to her, just like Richie
Yeah.
was talking about how bad the stab films are now that they don't have any real life murder. And when I saw that, I'm like,
Wow.
okay, there's some problems with it. Don't get me wrong. I love to end it with a positive. I love the opening scene. We didn't get a kill, but
Oh
that's the first
yeah.
time we got a new kill, and it was
Yes.
brutal. Like they
It
messed
was,
her
man.
up.
It was.
I really like. I mean, I like the fight that Dewey put up. I don't like how he died, but
Okay.
overall, there's a lot of positives. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's the one that has the most negatives to me. There you go.
Gotcha.
Sorry, long-winded
Interesting.
for you
No,
there.
no, you're good, man. I love, yeah, that is shocking to me. I did not see that coming. I'm a fan of this film. I'll just say that. But
It's gonna be a little higher.
it's gonna be a little bit higher. But no, those justifiable complaints. So I can respect that. My number 6. I feel like I don't think this will be too hot of a take, but I have gotten some pushback on it. Um, I'm going with part 4 as my number 6.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so for me, again, still a good film. I still like it. But as you kind of mentioned, like it has the most issues, the most things that I have a problem with. I think one of them, it's just like the look, like the cinematography here. And I understand it was an intentional thing, but it doesn't give me a pleasing viewing experience when I'm watching it. Like I want to get into it more, especially like when you watch the first two, it's so clear and sharp and the cinematography is great. Screen 4, it's like that bugs me. The cinematography and the camera stuff just I can't fully
Are you talking
enjoy
about like
it.
the blurriness on the screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so quick note. I don't know if you know this, and obviously I'll let you finish. They're doing a 4K remaster without that effect over the screen.
That's going to raise it. That's going to raise it for me for sure, because that is something that has always bugged me with this movie. It's just I can't
Dude,
get
I'm
past that.
so in agreement with you.
You know,
Yeah, I'm so in agreement with you, dude. That's one of the things.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the remastered one without it. That's definitely going to improve my experience with it. The other thing though, I feel like by this point, 4 movies in, and we still have Gale, Dewey, and Sydney, all 3 of them still surviving the same scenario 4 movies in. For me, it felt kind of like, okay, one of these needs to go. You know, they're not like it's not like Rambo where you're like, I can see how Rambo would survive these situations. A badass Green Beret guy, like it makes sense. These are just 3 random people. Like they're not like some skilled, you know, agent that you can see them surviving all these plots. And it's like 4 different situations. You're gonna have multiple killers coming after you, and you're still gonna keep surviving. I just felt like when I get to Scream 4, I feel that kind of like, okay, a lot of plot armor for these characters. One of them has got to go by now, and I know they're not. So it's like, and then again with like Gale and Dewey, it felt like we're just looping back around to where they were in what the second one, more type of like relationship issues, and it's just like I feel like there wasn't really any much progression with their relationship. It just felt like rehashing the same thing 4 movies in, and they didn't really know what to do. So, well, let's just make Gail it's someone that wants to stay home and be a wife, but really she just goes back to doing what she was doing because we don't know what else to do with her. And he's still on the force, still kind of the doofus Dewey guy, but yeah, I know it sounds like I'm being harsh on it, but again, I like it. It's just it's the one that has the most issues for me personally.
Yeah, dude, those are very like legitimate complaints. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. But yeah,
Yeah,
I can see where you like I can see those complaints coming up, and I
yeah.
can't shoot most of them down. So, dude, I
Yeah,
respect it.
I do like the killer. Who's the actress name who played
Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts? Yeah, I did like her. She was good, especially when she turns
Oh, dude.
in that third act.
That's
Very
Julia
believable.
Roberts' niece.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I should
Oh,
put the two and two together.
you'll probably like this. Remember Dark Knight, what's Dark Knight Rises? Remember where he threw the dude off the roof? Batman threw him off the roof and he was like,
Yes.
a fall from here won't kill me.
Yes, The Dark Knight. Yeah.
That's her dad.
No, is it really?
That's her dad, yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
that's
did not
Eric
know that.
Roberts.
Wow. That's craziness, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
there you go. Bring it
I
back.
like her
I
even
knew
more
you'd
now.
know the
Yeah.
Batman actor. So I was like,
Yeah.
that's probably going to be the easiest way
Hell
to get
yeah.
him to recognize Eric Roberts. Okay.
Hey, she just won some points for herself with that.
Dude, she was, we'll talk, I know we'll talk about her more later.
She was good. She was very good. All right, man. What's your number 5?
My number 5, and this is probably going to be a hot take to some people, is going to be Scream 6.
Okay.
Most
I
recently.
respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
So I have similar complaints in terms of motive and killer as part 5 did.
Okay.
Obviously, we recycled so many plot points and details from Scream 2. The protagonists go off to college. The killer turns out to be, spoiler alert for anyone who's watching this who hasn't seen Scream, the killer turns out to be the relatives of the killer from the previous movie who is, unalived. And then it's just getting revenge for that. Like, it was, a lot of it was recycled from part 2. And people can, yeah, you can have the same story and make a different movie. You can, but they didn't do that here. Mostly it's the same. They sprinkled in their own stuff in there, obviously, but it was so much similar to part 2 that I'm like, I don't think they put enough in there to make it their own movie. Right. Now, one thing, the huge positive they have in this movie, in my opinion, is the character development of the core 4.
Yes.
You get so much more time with them. And it's, personally, I think it's a bad thing if my favorite part of this murder mystery whodunit slasher is the downtime the group has while they're getting ready to eat dinner. Like, that was my favorite part of the movie, seeing them actually like deal with the stuff. Like, yeah, the kills are great and stuff like that, but that was legitimately my favorite part of the movie. Yeah, because of that, I'm going to raise it. And, Ghostface was pretty ferocious, even if there's some logic mistakes in this movie. And that's one thing that'll take me out of a movie so fast is logic mistakes or writing errors, script errors, however you want to label it. There's some stuff in here that just does not make sense. And it's fine if you make a turn your brain off and enjoy it movie. I do not want a Scream movie that you have to turn your brain off to enjoy. Scream movies are meant to make you think. It's a whodunit. Like, that's the whole point, is you're trying to think about it. You're trying to put the clues together. Yeah. And this failed more than most other movies, in my opinion, at that portion. However, it was exciting enough that I think I did think it was better than part 5. Yeah.
No, I definitely respect that. Very, very good analysis of Scream 6. Real quick before I give mine, Dominique St. Clair's here saying, "What's up? What's up, Dom? Hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for joining the stream." Dom's also saying Scream 5 at the bottom. Yeah, on Eric's list. He put it at the bottom. Can you believe that, man?
Oh, I think he's saying his is Scream 5 at the bottom as well. Yeah.
No. Adrian Phillips is in the house. What's up, Adrian? Scream 6 is my bottom. 5 is my 5th.
So he's going in order so far. 6,
okay.
5.
Okay. So 6 and 5. Okay. Nice. Respect it. That's crazy that you guys have 5 that low. What is wrong with you people?
What did Sarah Michelle Gellar say? Well, there's no accounting for taste.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. All right. So let's see. Where did my screen go? Oh no. Oh no.
So we're at your number 5?
We're at my number 5. Yeah.
Okay, what do you
Trying
got,
to
man? What are
find
you putting at
the
number 5?
so the tier list is just disappeared on my screen. I don't
I
know why.
can I can see your mouse over it.
Can you really?
Yeah. Like you're hovered over part 5 right now.
Oh, okay.
Part 4, 3.
Okay. Cool. I don't that's weird. Like I can see it on a like on the StreamYard screen, but not on my like computer screen. It's weird. I wonder if I can still access it from here. All right, so my number 5, I'll just go and say is also Scream 6. Is it letting me drag it? No.
It's not. No, you'll have to. You know what
Okay.
you might do is unshare it
Okay.
and then
Okay.
reshare it again. That might
Going.
help.
Yeah. Yeah. But as I do that, yeah, Scream 6. Stop. Oh, okay. Here we go. I need to do that. Okay. Um, Scream 6 is my number 5. Why is this going on here?
There you go.
Is it still I don't know, it's still letting me drag it or not.
Try dragon.
Oh,
No.
okay, let me try one other thing real quick. Okay, now let me go in and do it this way. I might have to do this every time. Okay, here we go. So yeah, my number 5 is also Scream 6. Pretty much everything that Eric said. Kind of, I have pretty much the same thoughts on it. Things that I did like about it, I liked the opening sequence was actually really cool. I didn't see it coming. Like they did something different there. I liked it. Especially when the kid removes and just like reveals himself that quick. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay. Here I guess we're riding with this kid then. And then they just capped him, and you're just like, whoa, all right, what's going on? But I liked it. It was different, kind of ballsy. They went for it. So I did like the opening sequence. The issues started to come in after that with you, like what you said, some real logic issues here that I remember watching. And I'm like, doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't know why you would react that way, but or how this character did this. Definitely had some plot holes in it and just conveniences. And I don't buy the new Randy character, the girl that they're trying to really
Mindy.
push.
Oh my
Yes,
god. I
Mindy.
wanted Mindy to die so
Oh, dude,
bad.
you and me both, man. Like it's so in your face. Like, believe this is Randy. It's like, no, she's not. She doesn't. She just doesn't have that same Randy charm or energy to her. Um. So yeah, I really was hoping that she would get RIP'd, but
Man, you
but
know what got me the most? Sorry, I know I've already
no,
talked
you're
about it,
good.
but
You're
you
good.
you brought it up and like the reaction, and I didn't even think about saying, but in my opinion, it is one of the worst parts of the movie. They all, while like at the end of sitting at dinner, get the photo of Quinn
Uh-huh.
apparently being unalived in there, right?
Yep.
So what do they do? Do they run to help her?
No.
Do they escape? No, they literally huddle in a group in front of the door and
Yeah.
stand there.
Right.
And they wait for some weird amount of time,
Ungodly
and
amount
then
of
all of a
time.
sudden Mindy says, "Run!" Like, what do you mean run now? Like, what is
Right.
this hide and seek? Are you giving them a 30-second head start? What are you doing? It made
Yeah.
and then then Sam runs to get a weapon, and then
Right. Yeah.
Tara and Chad run out the front door.
Makes
Like
no
it,
sense.
it makes no sense. Like
No.
there was no reason for that to happen.
No, there wasn't.
And oh my god, that
Yeah.
reaction to me, I was like, what are you doing? Like I understand fight or flight,
Right.
but they didn't do either. Like
Right. they don't do the two most obvious things like to
Well,
do,
also,
like
like, I
either one.
understand deer in the headlights, but
Yeah,
that's not what they did either because they actively got up and moved
right,
from the
right.
table and positioned themselves where they know the killer is coming out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what? What? Oh
Makes no
god.
sense, man. Yeah.
Oh, that like the more 6, in my opinion, has the least rewatchability of every movie
Yeah,
because
I can see
the
that.
more I watch it, the more things I find wrong with it.
I can see that. Yeah, that's fair. And I was tempted to put this at number 6, but just because it's visually more aesthetically pleasing to me, and it doesn't have the blur problem that Scream 4 has. I can kind of work with it a little better, but Scream 4 obviously has a better cast in it. But yeah, I mean, I think these two are pretty close for me, depending on my mood. These two could flip, but because I was very invested in that opening sequence. Had some good kills, pretty bloody for a Scream movie. And I do like Jenna Ortega a lot, and the chemistry with her and her sister. I buy that. So I did like those things with it, but it was a little disappointing, especially for me coming after 5, which again it's gonna be a
We're
little
gonna
bit
see
higher.
it be up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be way up there for you. But
Yeah, it's I was a fan. So coming out of 5, I had really high hopes for 6. And I remember walking out of the theater like, that wasn't what I was expecting. A little bit of a letdown. I'm really interested to see where they're gonna go with part 7, but no clue with that, man. No clue with that. So
who's to say at this point, man?
who's to say, right? Um, all right. So let's see. Jerry Wilson's back in the club saying, "What's up? What's up, Jerry? Hope you're doing well, man."
How's it going,
Um,
Jerry, my dude?
Jerry is the dude, man. I was
Jerry's
talking
the
with him
dude.
yesterday. Good man. Good man. All right. Let me pull this off real quick. Screen, and then I'll go back into it. I think that's what we're gonna have to do each time. Sorry guys, I'm working on a new computer. So it's
Still getting it figured
probably,
out.
yeah, it's probably an adjustment thing I'll have to kind of play around with a little bit. But all right, Eric, what is your number 4, sir?
My number 4 is going to be Scream 3.
Number 3. All right.
Now, I'll try to talk less because I realize I'm talking so much for each one.
You're good, man.
Scream 3, I think, was a perfect end to the original trilogy. If we had gotten Scream 3 and then no other Screams, I would have been content with that
Mm,
trilogy. It was a perfect end seeing Sydney walk into that house, not worrying about the door with her dog. And you got
yep.
Dewey proposing to Gail, like them
Yes.
realizing they're a good team, even though sometimes they get at each other. They're a great team.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course we got Detective Kincaid. Sydney's got herself a good love interest now, who
Yep.
literally took a bullet for or took
Yeah.
a knife for her. Like
Right.
so, like
Yeah.
it was a perfect ending to the trilogy, right?
Yeah.
However, since we know now that it is not an ending to the trilogy,
Right.
there are a couple things. The main thing for me, and I can't fault Scream 3 for it, but it is a problem with the movie, was the producers, the interference from the studio.
Yeah.
Um, one big thing, and I'm sure you know this, I'm sure everyone knows this at this point, but there was supposed to be a second killer. It was supposed to be Angelina.
I was gonna say, wasn't it? It's supposed to be Angelina.
It was supposed to be
Yeah.
Angelina.
Yeah.
Studio didn't want that, so they made him take it out. However, because Wes Craven is defiant as he is, he left in a lot of stuff that alludes to
Right.
Angelina being the killer. And there's one scene specifically, and this was pointed out to me by Steven over at Craven Something Scary. He pointed out this one particular scene where it is physically impossible for there to only be one Ghostface.
Is it the house scene?
It's in the house. Yes, the house where she is. She's like someone's knocking on the door, like
Right.
trying to get in, and then she moves, and then there's physically no way for there to be enough time for that person to get around
Right. From
the
where they
outside.
were,
Yeah.
where they are in the next shot.
So there has to be two people. Like there
Yeah.
just has to be.
Yeah.
The studio interference is what brought this movie down. Also, as you know, everyone knows the plot was very rushed because of the tragedy that happened, and you know
Right.
that causing the change. So, with that being said, though, I think the product we got, in spite of all that, is
Yeah.
pretty good. Like
Agreed.
I'm a big fan of Roman. I think he
Yeah.
was a beast of a ghost face. I don't think he gets enough
Oh, for
credit.
sure.
Technically, if you want to look back at it, Roman is the mastermind of all of Scream because
He is, man.
he's the one who got really ticked off at Maureen. He's the one
Yeah.
who put Billy up to it. Billy then recruited Stu.
Right.
After that, you know, Gail wrote the book. After part one, everything can be attributed to Gail. However, for part, yeah, for
Yeah. For that
overall
first one.
franchise,
Yeah.
I mean, Roman is the mastermind of Scream, and I really enjoy 3 for that reason.
Mhm.
However, you know, with the studio interference and the script changes that had to happen and all of that, there's a little bit of stuff that takes it down a little bit for me. But
Right.
I think it sits really well at 3, or
Yeah.
really well at number 4.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to piggyback off that. My number 4 is also Scream 3.
Look at that,
Look
man.
at that. We
We're
got
mashing
2.
on a couple.
We are, man.
Bro,
I'm liking it.
I wonder if we're gonna flip flop 4 and 5.
Hey, if I happen, man, if I happen. No, I agree with everything you're saying about part 3. This is probably the one I see for me that I've seen the most at people's bottom, which shocks me because I'm like, I like Scream 3 quite a bit. I have a really good time with it. I like that they change up the setting, where a lot of it is on, an actual movie set production, which Wes Craven likes doing that. He did that with New Nightmare as well. He likes doing that kind of thing. I like it. It makes you feel like you're on a movie set, and I like that, and I think it's a really good setting for a killer. Like if you
Oh
think
yeah.
about it, like that. I mean, there's been a number of horror movies in the past that have used like movie location stuff for kills. Like Peeping Tom. That was a lot of that. Those kills were on a movie set, so it's just a really good setting because the killer could be anywhere on that set and you don't know who it's going to be. So I like the change of scenery, the setting. I like seeing Sydney in the next chapter of her life. We see her in high school in the first one, college in the second, and now by the third she's well into her adult years. She's learning to move on from the events of the first two, and she's learning how to help others who have gone through trauma and gone through similar things. And that's what I really like about her character. To me, it's Sydney and Sigourney Weaver are like my two favorite final girls, man. Because they're both just so solid and such likable and strong characters. But one thing I love with Sydney is like through these 4 movies, we really get a full story with Sydney, like a full life worth of story with her. And I just love seeing her in the new place that she's at in her life. I also like Roman a lot as a killer. And to me, like it makes it more personal when it's family, when it's
Mm-hmm.
blood, like it makes the plot, the tension a lot more personal. And so I'm invested in it more, knowing that like this is blood, this is brother, can she put down her own brother? And so yeah,
Spoiler alert, she can.
dude, she's a badass, man. I love Sydney. She's awesome. So
She really is.
yeah. So my number 4 is also Part 3. Let's see what the chat is saying here real quick. Let me remove that. Let's see. Adrian saying Jennifer Jolie is top tier character. Oh yeah,
Oh
Jennifer.
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. Like she
yeah,
was that turn she had, like that flip she had when you realize, like when she's like, I didn't that pig
right.
Milton just to. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh snap, because you think
dude.
she's like this goody two shoes throughout,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like,
That
because
snap was awesome.
I was like, oh, she's bananas, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she hit it so well, like, and that's why I'm very on board with believing she could have been a ghost face.
Oh, for
The fact
sure.
that she could snap like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's very believable.
Hmm.
Which I mean, well, I guess maybe too late, but I guess there's still some room that you could pursue that in another movie, possibly. Like find out that your Sydney finds out somehow that she was still involved
Well,
in
in
some
part
murders.
6, Kirby addresses that, remember?
That's true.
And she
Yeah,
points out
that's right.
Roman, the only one, the only
Yeah,
solo ghost face.
right.
So,
Yeah,
and Kirby's part of the FBI who's been working this thing. So
right.
I'm assuming the FBI has investigated at this point and
Yeah, that's
didn't find
true.
it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I feel like because that was, yeah, like you said, Adrian,
Oh,
that was very
it's not
believable.
completely impossible. They just, and that's one of the reasons for me that 5
Yeah,
and 6 are at the bottom, is because Radio Silence does not plan for continuity. They do
right,
not,
right, right.
and they even said in an interview, they don't plan out anything past the movie they're doing,
Yeah,
which for a long running franchise like this, you got to
right.
do that. You got to plan it out so you don't build roadblocks for yourself.
Well, and
So
knowing like the fan base too, like the fans are going to keep wanting more movies. So obviously, more movies are going to keep getting made. So it'd probably be smart to start planning for continuity with the movies. Um,
yeah, man, it just yeah,
I
I
mean, I guess
agree.
they could,
It's
I guess they could always do like a Halloween 2018 where they pick up from after part
I don't
2
want that,
to
man.
do
I don't want
something,
that. No, I that's one thing I really admire about Scream
Mhm.
is it is a continuous timeline.
It is. It
Like
is.
everything you've seen on screen is canon
Yeah.
at this point, and
Yeah.
it's one flowing story. Like and
Right.
there's people, I honestly think I'm in the minority at this point. There's a ton of people who want that
Mhm.
to not go back after 2, but to
Yeah.
go back after 4. They want to get rid of the
Like the
Carpenter
whole
sisters.
new, yeah,
Yeah,
set of
because then
characters.
you can
Yeah.
bring Dewey back. Then
Right.
you got so much more opportunity at that point, and just
Yeah.
have the Carpenter sisters as like their own little spin-off thing.
Yeah.
Personally,
Anthology
I don't
type of
want that.
thing. Yeah.
I don't want that. Like I don't want to
I don't
ignore
yeah.
that those things happen. They did.
Right.
Like
And there's
we
some good
had
stuff in those movies,
there's
So,
legitimately good things in
yeah.
there, and I want to keep those.
Right.
I don't want as I love Halloween. I do. It is a great franchise, but you need a
Oh,
freaking
it's yeah.
roadmap to get through that thing. Like
At least. Yeah.
so
It's crazy.
yeah. They could,
Yeah.
but I and you know what? They can still ignore it. They can still because
They could.
I'm of the you know what? My theory is that Stu was helping Roman.
That would be interesting.
My theory is
That
Roman. Okay, so in Scream 1, we'll go quick little tangent. In Scream
yeah,
1,
yeah.
there's 2 times you see a ghost face just randomly out in public.
Right. Right.
Stu and Billy wouldn't be out in that costume. They wouldn't. But
True.
Roman put Stu and Billy up to it. And if Roman came back and was just monitoring, just watching the situation, he's not going to care. No one even going to know who he is.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not going to matter if he gets caught. Now, if that's the case, Roman is there watching everything. He could have helped get Stu out of there.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Stu was still alive, which the last time we saw him, he was still breathing. I mean, he was bleeding, but he was
Right.
still breathing.
Right.
He could help get Stu out of there. Stu survives back, out
Yeah.
in the ether somewhere, being hidden. And then when it comes to part 3, Stu's helping.
That's crazy, man. Hollywood, take notes. Take notes.
Bro, like
Write it down.
and you know what? I can tie it into part 4. Like,
Crazy,
bro,
dude.
I can tie Stu into every single movie. logically.
Bro, dude, you gotta send this in, bro. You gotta notepad it and send it in, dude. I'm loving it. And Jerry Wilson's thrown up Eric's link.
Thank you so much, Jerry, man.
Yes, go check out Bearded Entertainment. Give him a like and a sub as well. Yeah, Adrian saying in the set. Yeah, the movie set thing was cool that they did there. Adrian saying kind of gross that Roman was.
Well, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was banging the chick who played Gail.
Wait,
Angelina talked about banging Milton. That's the producer, the old guy that Roman killed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Roman was trying to bang.
Well, he banged he actively talked about it with Jennifer Jolie.
Right. Okay. Right.
Who was playing Gail.
Okay. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the My Lawyer Liked
Right.
That. Yeah, that one.
Yes, that was good. Okay, yeah, I got confused there for a second. I was like, wait a minute. I had to go back to screen 3.
Adrian, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Jennifer Jolie said that. I don't think that was oh God, Angelina. I don't think it was Angelina. I could be wrong.
But she said, remind me not to sleep with him again. So, Adrian, you're saying that the Stab 3 girl said to him not to sleep with her again. Oh, okay. Because, yeah. So, Adrian's saying when he got questioned on the set earlier in the film. Okay. Oh, okay. So Eric was right, you're saying? Okay. I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's been a minute for me, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like I get them mixed up too. But yeah, Angelina who was playing Sydney refers to sleeping with Milton, the producer, the old guy.
Okay.
So, I mean, let's be honest though. More than likely, Roman probably tapped that too.
True. Yeah,
he's the director, man. Back in that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
and we know he's messed up enough to.
Oh yeah, he's really messed up.
Yeah. All right, so we're into number 3.
We're in the
Eric,
top 3, man.
3?
Top
yes,
half.
Sir.
My top 3. Number 3 is going to be rounded out by Scream 4.
Gotcha.
Now, one thing I will agree with that you said was the film or the glare over the lens.
Yeah.
I never understood that choice stylistically, creatively. Never understood it. As I said, they are doing a 4K remaster without that. And surprisingly, a lot of people are upset about it because
really,
well, their point of view is that Wes Craven wanted that creatively, so it should be maintained.
I mean, doing that is a very intentional decision by the director. Like, it's not something that just happens to be there. Like, you, as the director, you're intentionally doing that for a specific reason.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You can get a 4K copy with the filter on there. Like, this isn't it's not like there's not going to be any copies with the filter. Like, I'm totally okay with them making an option to watch it without the filter. Just like directors will throw out a director's cut. Like, they can throw out their own thing. Studios should be able to throw out their cut. So
agreed.
That is my biggest complaint with the movie. Outside of that, man, I loved Emma Roberts, like you said.
She was very good.
As a Ghostface, she was insane. She was the closest to anyone anyone has ever been to actually taking Sydney out.
She was, yeah.
To a point where we thought she was dead. And getting to see what a Ghostface does when they think they've won was insane. She starts destroying herself. And you're like, oh my God.
Crazy bitch.
Dude, she was maniacal.
She
Like,
was, man.
but it was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Um, the
Well, and
kills.
she's like one of the smartest Ghostface too.
Oh,
I mean,
she
you got to
was.
think you're like Sydney has put up with so many Ghostfaces at this point, and to still be able to pull the cover over on her, and to still be able to get away with what she got away with without people figuring her out. I mean, she's smart, dude. She's a smart
Yeah,
ghost.
and just think about like the very beginning. They had to come up with a plan to
Yeah,
keep her there because
yeah,
she could outside of that, if they hadn't have got that bloody knife and phone in her back
right.
in her trunk, she would have been long gone. Plan failed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so like another thing I didn't like about 4, and a lot of people like this, but the opening. The fake out openings where like the
Oh right.
opening kill, this is actually stab 7, but they're
Yeah,
watching it in stab 6. It I didn't like that. Like honestly, I could barely tell you who the actual opening kill of 4 is.
right.
Like it's
Right.
like come on now, just give me the actual.
Yeah,
So I didn't care for that, but man, outside of those things, I love the motive too. I love how she's just like, I don't care. I don't need friends. I want fans. Like I'm gonna
yes,
be the survivor. It's gonna be me. And,
yeah,
and even when she's killing Richie, she's just like, you know what people love more than survivors? A lone survivor. And like right
yes.
in the heart, and just, bro, she was cold blooded.
She was, man. That
And
narcissism was turned up to 10, bro.
dude,
Like,
and let's not take anything away from Richie.
oh, Richie was
Richie's
great.
kill of Olivia was one of the
Yes.
most brutal in the
Yes.
franchise. Anytime anyone wants to talk shit about Richie, I'm like, you go back and watch Sydney's reaction to the
Yes.
carnage inside that room. You don't even got to look at the carnage. Just look at how she reacts. And this is 4 movies deep. She's seen some
Oh,
shit.
yeah, for sure.
And when she goes in there, she almost can't look. He diced her up so bad. So like Richie was solid. And
Yes.
the piece de resistance for me, we got Kirby Reed.
Kirby Reed.
Kirby Reed was such a amazing character. She was like her and Richie together, I think, took the form of Randy in that movie,
Yeah, I could see
which is
that.
another thing that I like because one half of that Randy substitute turned out to be the bad guy.
Right, right.
So seeing her and him bounce off of each other with this
Yeah.
knowledge and this horror like royalty, and then one half of them ends up being evil, and but getting Kirby Reed was amazing. I think Hayden Panettiere is a amazing actress. She's a beautiful woman. Like it
Mhm.
was, I really really dig part 4. If it hadn't had that film over it,
Yeah.
man, it could have made a run for part 2 for me.
Well, I'm really looking for the 4K without the glare because I think that's definitely it's gonna help my viewing experience with it for sure. And I could definitely see 4 moving up at least above 6, possibly 3. For me, I don't know. I want when that 4K comes out, I want to watch 3 again and then watch 4 without the glaze and
Mhm.
see if it goes above 3 for me at that point. But
Man, I hope they put Wes Craven's cameo back in too.
yes,
Like
yes.
that was
Oh, I
the
want
last
that.
on screen
I
he
want
ever
that.
did, man. I want to see
Yes.
it.
Oh,
Even if it's, and we know what it is, it's
yeah,
almost
it's
nothing. It's just him as a paramedic
right,
coming in.
but it's still
And
him.
yeah, like
Still
you
him.
get Wes Craven, man.
Yes, yes. I definitely want that. Definitely want that.
Yeah. So
Um,
there you go,
those are
man.
good stuff, man. Good points on part 4. All very valid. Great. Yeah, Kirby is a great character. Um, great kill. Yeah, solid, man. Respect. All right. My number 3 is I take number 2. Number 2. Yeah, I do
All right, I'm gonna
really
go.
Eric's like, "Oh, look at the time. I got the place I gotta be." Uh, oh man. No, I love 2. I do. I love part 2. Great movie. Very rewatchable, very entertaining. it's got one of the most intense. As many times as I've seen this movie, it's got one of the most intense like moments in this franchise when Sydney and the girl are in the car and they're trying to open the door without waking up Ghostface. Dude, every time I'm like on the edge of my seat, like just open it, get out, get out. It's so good, man. I love seeing Sydney in college now. She's you can tell she's trying to move on from the events of part one, but it's still bothering her. She doesn't want to be vulnerable around anyone and let them in. She doesn't know who she can trust. And then the Randy RIP bro just like totally threw me for a loop.
Oh,
and
my heart.
That was through the heart, man. That went straight through the heart because he was the cool kid now.
He was the audience, like he was us.
He was, yes.
It felt like we died, man.
Right. And it's cool. It was cool seeing him now in a like as a cool kid because everyone around him were filmed
with his people.
Yes, and it was like he was at home, he was comfortable, he was in his element, and that's when he gets capped. And it's just like, man, that one got me in the heart. But I love part two. It's not really that it's not number 3 because it has like a bunch wrong with it. I think it's more just that I love my 1 and 2 more. I think for me though, as far as like part 2, the who's not Billy's mom, the guy killer. What was his name?
Oh, Mickey.
Mickey, yes. I don't know what it is about him, but there's just something in every movie I've seen him in. Just something about that actor's face that just makes me want to deliver one of these right through his suck hole. And it's just like Step Brothers line. I had to throw it in. I had to throw it in there. It was served up. I had to throw a Step Brothers line in. What deliver one of these right in your suck hole? Anything I can do to prevent that? No, it's just your face. But yeah, it's like I don't know why, but there's just those people, those actors, celebrities that just something about their face annoys the crap out of you when you look at it. And he is that guy for me. And so it's not a knock against Scream 2. It's a me problem. Like it's a me problem, but his face every time I see him, I'm like, can we please get this guy off my screen right now? And so I think if there was a different killer in there, and he was fine, but if we just had someone that wasn't as annoying for me, I think I would like it more. But as far as like the structure and the story and everything, it's good, man. It's a great film, solid. I love it. I just happen to like my 1 and 2 more. So
I got you, man. It's all opinion basis.
Yeah,
respect for it, man.
Yeah. Let's catch up on the chat here for a second. What you guys saying? Okay, so Adrian was saying, yeah, you're right on the Scream 3 thing. And then he's saying it's a commentary on remakes, apparently. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Part 4 was commentary on remakes. That's why the final question from Ghostface to Kirby was what remake of the groundbreaking film, and she just goes through the list.
Yes,
and I mean, and that was the final line from Sydney, I believe, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
First rule of remakes: never fuck with the original.
Right. And so Adrian's going 4 at his number 4. And then 3 at his number 3. So he's just
Adrian.
moving.
Yeah, I was about to say, Adrian Maduder, you just got him in order.
he's
if you put 2 above 1, I'm gonna scream silently in my head.
He will scream. Like, yes.
You're like, how dare this is an 81 Honda. How dare you? There's another deep cut quote for you if you ever saw Employee of the Month.
Yes. Yes. Great moment. All right, so Eric, we are on to your number 2. I think we're probably gonna have the same number 1.
We're probably gonna have the same number 1 because my number 2 is going to be number 2.
Gotcha.
I think this was the like one of the most perfect sequels you could ever have to a horror movie.
It's great, man.
The story flowed so seamlessly
Yep.
from the first one to this one. You with the first, we'll talk about the first. We know where
Yeah,
we
yeah,
know the
yeah.
first one's coming up. So
Right.
with the rules of a horror slasher movie or whatever. This one, the rules of a sequel,
Mhm.
and everything just, man, like I said, it just flows so seamlessly. The story does. We
Yeah.
do, like you brought up, we do get that growth from Sydney.
Mhm.
When she gets that call at the beginning from the
Yes.
spam caller or the
Great
prank
call.
caller, it doesn't even phase her. Like, she's
No.
gotten to that point. But the second something real happens, you can see those cracks starting to open back up.
Yes.
Like, you can see her, she is still damaged. She's just
Yep.
still working on it. And we're gonna have to agree to disagree on Mickey, because
Yeah,
Mickey's top three Ghostface for me.
I fully acknowledge that's a me thing.
For
It's not.
one reason, man. The mental games he plays on Sydney are some
Yeah.
of the best torture she goes through in the entire franchise. Like, when
True.
he's just like, they're sitting there after Derek heroically ran in
Yes.
to like confront Ghostface and gets his arm sliced up, and they're sitting at the hospital. Mickey's like, kind of weird that he just ran back in there, isn't it?
Yeah,
He just
yeah.
got one little cut, conveniently not hitting
So
any,
messed
and
up,
just
dude.
just leans back. He doesn't even have to do anything.
No.
Just leans back and lets it go. And you can see those freaking wheels turning in her head.
Yeah.
And then at the end, where she's about to save him, and he's like, "Oh, don't you know history repeats itself?"
Yes.
Like,
so good.
Dude, he tortures her and psychologically so well.
He does.
And I love how over the top he is, and I love his plan. Like, I love his motive. He's got one of the most original motives out there. It's like, no, I want to get caught. And you know what? I'm going to win. Man. Yeah. He's like, I want to get caught. I'm going to blame the movies. Like, this is going to be a groundbreaking thing. I want it. And you're like, wow. He stands out as a ghost face for those reasons. And he's just fucking crazy, dude. Like, he's really just bonkers.
He is. And that's something that's unique about a lot of like the Scream killers, is that a lot of them have some really, they're not just like your typical bad guy in a movie that's just out for revenge. Like Roman's out for revenge, I guess you could say. But like Mickey, he wants to get caught. He wants the fame. Like Jill's just she's just fucking,
she's beyond repair.
Yeah. She's
throw her under the jail, like,
right. Yeah. Give her a whole different section of the jail just for her.
And then Richie wanted there to be better movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, it like there's some good ones. There's some really good ones in there.
Yeah.
But the scene you're talking about, the most tension-filled scene, them climbing over. See, that's what I think they were going for with the Scream 6, them standing in front of the door.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. Like, this made perfect sense. It was so perfectly set up.
Yes.
The only way they can get out of this car is to climb over Ghostface. Yes. And if they wake him up, they're gonna get butchered. Like, it is so tense. Like, it's it's so good. Like a perfect, like, that's just an exercise or just an example of the perfect way to build tension.
Yes.
And I love the Mrs. Loomis thing. I love that Mrs. Loomis comes back. I love that she recruited someone to do the dirty work.
I do too.
She is, in my opinion, the smartest Ghostface. I know Jill is up there, but she's the smartest one. She went out of town where no one knows her. She completely lost weight and had a little bit of surgery, so almost no one recognizes her.
Right.
She avoided Sydney because Sydney would as we saw, as soon as she came in, Sydney recognized her. She uses a fake name, so anyone who does recognize her there is going to know her as Debbie Salt, who doesn't exist.
Right.
She found someone who was already a serial killer.
Yeah.
So the police aren't going to dig any further once they figure out he's the one doing it.
Yeah.
Like, she had that plan so set up so well. If anyone was going to get away with it, it was going to be Debbie Salt / Miss Lewis.
Yeah.
And I love that. She's top 5 Ghostface for me.
And she almost did get away with it.
She
Like
almost did.
if she hadn't got killed, she would have.
Dude,
So,
Cotton Weary is the only reason
oh
she
yeah,
didn't get away with it. Like,
and
if
Cotton's a
Cotton
good
hadn't been
character
there,
too.
oh, dude, Cotton,
Yeah, I
we haven't
love.
even talked about him.
Yeah, he's
He's one of the best characters, like side characters in the whole
for
thing.
sure. Agreed.
Um, but yeah, if Gale hadn't have brought Cotton Weary there, Sydney'd be dead.
Yeah.
Sydney,
Oh, for
Gale,
sure.
all of them would be dead.
Yep.
So, but man, there's like I said, there's just so much good about Scream 2.
There is. Yeah.
I hardly have a negative thing to say about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. There's really not.
if number one movie didn't exist, Scream 2 would be number one. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. I'm about to have to take some heat here for my number two. So I'll just go ahead and put myself through the ringer here. My number two is, of course, part 5. Yeah. Dude, for me, I love this movie. Like, I love this movie so much. And the weird thing is, I don't really know why. Like, dude, it's so good. This is a funny story. I saw this in theaters with one of my boys here, and he hated it. And he thought I was gonna hate it. So we come out of the theater, and he's just like trolling the movie, man. He's just dogging the movie. And we get in the car. He's like, "Yeah, so what do you think?" And I was like, "I loved it." And he just looked at me like I was on crack or something. And he's like,
He's like, "You
"Why?"
messing with me?"
Yeah. He's like, did we see the same movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, I loved it." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, I don't know. There's something that's just so entertaining for me about it. I don't know if it's the new group of characters, or which it's not, because I wasn't entertained by them that much in part 6. But I guess I loved the killer, the guy killer in this one.
Richie.
Richie. Yes. I'm so bad with names, dude.
Oh, you're good, dude.
Loved Richie.
That switch.
Yes.
That switch when
So
dude, when
good.
he's looking her in the eye, he's like, I know. I'm sorry, it's me.
Dude. I love that scene.
I'm just like, dude is cold.
Oh, dude.
Just
Yeah.
straight
He goes in hard.
ice, man.
Yes. I love that scene. Love that moment, because I was actually warming to him. I was like, they're giving this guy a lot of shit, and I don't think he's a killer. And I kind of feel bad for him, because he's the one that you would expect to be the killer, and I don't think he is. And then the reveal happens. I'm like, oh shit! And then you just see the total flip that he does. And I love Richie. Like I said, I love Jenna Ortega. I love the opening scene, so good. Her and her sister have great chemistry. I did love seeing Sydney in this one. I would have liked to have her have a little bit more of an impact. But I also kind of see what they're doing. I see like they're wanting to kind of pass the torch to a new group, kind of like Stone Cold passed it to The Rock, you know. So I see what they're doing with it there. And I like Dewey in this one, because to me, he's this rugged veteran at this point, broken down, like he's been through the fucking ringer.
He's Batman in The Dark Knight.
Yes.
That's exactly what Dewey is in this movie.
Yes. And he's like, all the charm and lovable stuff about Dewey is gone. He's just this guy who's kind of like the end of his road, been through the freaking ringer, man. And he's just like, screw it. If I got to die, it's my time. And he went out freaking
like a Bamf.
Yes. And he gave his life. I think that the sacrifice was meaningful. It did save them, momentarily at least. But I would have, and I did like the line, this is truly an honor, because they at least showed that they respected the character. of Dewey. Like they weren't just like I hate dude. One of the things I hate is when movies kill off a franchise character off screen. I hate that crap,
Oh
man.
yeah, freaking oh gosh, part 4, Halloween 4. They killed off
Yes,
Laurie.
yes.
Yeah, off
Off
screen.
screen. Yes, that's one of my big knocks with Halloween 4. I love Halloween 4, but that's one of my big issues with it. And so I'm glad that they didn't do that with Dewey. Like they actually gave him a death that also like I felt it because you've been around with Dewey for 5 movies and he survived everything, bro. He survived so many stabs and just like he's been survived so much. And there's that small part of me like when I'm watching it the first time that was like, oh, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. This is Dewey. He'll get through it.
Just
He'll
rub some
get
dirt
through
in
it.
it. You'll be
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Just drop some dirt in, man. It's Dewey. He'll be all right. But then when they start slashing upward with a knife and you just see him
Oh,
spitting up
dude.
blood, I'm like, that's when it kind of starts setting in for me. I'm like, no, they're doing this. They're killing. And the thing is, like, I knew it was time. Like, I knew it was time for one of them to go.
It
But
made so much sense, but you still
yes,
didn't want it
you
to happen.
still felt it. And it was just like, man, dude, he went out he went out as a man, kept his honor. But yeah, so I guess those things I really love part 2. I hear like the criticisms and they're valid criticisms that I hear people have of it, but for me, I guess like it just my enjoyment of it subjectively, my viewing experience is just still so positive that I can kind of forgive some of the negative stuff with it. I will say though, I will grant that Scream 2 is a better film than part 5, but I just think 5 for me is more entertaining. It's a little bit funner of a ride or more emotional of a ride. So for me, and it's close between 5 and 2, but I think for me, 5 just kind of edges it because of just the overall experience I have with it.
I got you, man.
Um,
And what you were saying there at the beginning, like you like this and you don't know why.
yeah, yeah,
I had the exact same scenario. As I was walking out of the theater from seeing Halloween Ends, I was like, what the hell did I just watch? I could not get the smile off my face. I don't know what I love that movie so much. I'm
oh,
like, I get why people hate it. I
yeah,
completely understand
yeah,
all the complaints, all the gripes. I get it.
yeah.
I had a smile on my face throughout that whole movie, and I don't know why. I
That's
really
awesome,
didn't
dude.
like Halloween Kills. Like, I'm one of the few people.
Really?
Yeah, man, you got to give me story. Like, that's what you got to
That's
give
fair.
me to
That's
keep me
fair.
in. And
Yeah.
Halloween Kills, as much as people want to love it and everything,
Yeah.
there was zero story in it. No character
That's fair.
progression, no story. Like, two things changed from the beginning to the end of the movie. It was very apparent that it
Yeah.
was the middle part of a trilogy, and they just needed to pad the runtime.
Filler. Yeah.
So I had that exact same scenario, man. Walking out of
Yeah.
Halloween Ends, I'm like, I don't know why I love that so much, but I did a right out of the theater reaction for it, and
Yeah.
that's like almost exactly my words. Like, I can't get the smile off my face. I had such a good time with it. Like,
That's awesome. I
it
mean,
was.
it's awesome that you love the movie. I'm glad that you like the movie. I love hearing like when people love a movie that I hate because I love hearing their perspective because they might give me something that I didn't even think about with the movie that might change my opinion on the movie. Now I grant I am when it comes to Halloween, I am very, very biased towards Michael. Like
Mhm.
Michael is my guy. So that's why I can overlook the lack of story and kills because it's all Michael.
Mhm.
And because I love Michael so much, I'm like, yeah, I can overlook the lack of story because they do my boy so good in that one. Um, but no, that's cool that you like Halloween ends, and you're not alone, man. Like I've heard a lot of people actually really like Halloween ends. I'm not one of them, but
Man, I can tell
that's
you it is one of the lowest rated of the franchise. Bottom
Is it
five.
really?
Bottom five. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably guess what the lowest rated Halloween movie
Resurrection.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. As it should be.
But
Don't even get me started on that, bro. I
we'll
don't.
talk. We'll talk more after this
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
some ratings.
So
I'll throw
bad.
some Halloween knowledge out there to you.
I don't even. There's not very many movies that when I think about them, legitimately get me angry. That is one of them. So bad. I'll go ahead and throw this one up for both of us because both of us have the OG as number one, baby.
As it should be.
Oh yeah, for sure. It to me, this is a 5-star film. It's perfection as far as I'm concerned, man. One of my favorite horror films. Dude, yeah, I love it. I'll let you take it away because you're the big Scream guy, and I'll just kind of echo everything that you say about it.
Man, it revitalized the slasher horror genre. Like it really did. If you go back and look at the state of like slasher movies, like leading up to this early 90s, they are not good.
No,
They were not great. We're getting a lot of like later on sequels to stuff. You know,
yeah,
you're getting a lot of the
it's
Halloween
bad.
sequels, a lot of the Friday and the Nightmare sequels that are just not good. And
Yeah,
then this comes along, and I kind of put this on a similar like pedestal as the Matrix. Once the
mm,
Matrix came out, every action movie tried to do what that movie did.
I
Like,
like that. Yeah,
and
I like
once
that.
Scream came out, it literally created a new subgenre
Yeah,
where people tried to recreate Scream. I mean, you got I Know What You Did
mhm,
Last Summer. You got
right.
Urban Legends. There's
Yeah,
so many of them that just tried to like capitalize on what Scream did and recreate it. Like it
right.
created its own little subgenre. And it man,
Yeah,
I still remember that feeling when Sydney, you think, oh God, someone's here to help Sydney.
yeah.
And Stu pulls that thing up and says,
Oh,
surprise, Sydney. And my heart sank. And I'm like, she's done for. Like, there's no way.
yeah,
Man, that movie, it I think it set up a twist and it set up tropes that are still being used today. Like Thanksgiving
yeah.
that just came out last year capitalized on Scream so much. Like
100%.
that was a Scream movie. Man,
100%.
like you take away that John Carver mask and put in a Ghostface mask, you wouldn't know the difference, bro. That's a
Yeah.
Scream movie right there. And yeah, it brought back Wes Craven's career.
Yep.
Let's be honest, he wasn't the movies he was making at that point were not very well reviewed or anything like that. Like, not saying they were bad, but they weren't.
You had like Shocker, People Under the Stairs, which wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't after Nightmare.
Yeah, after you
You
got
had
something
some of
like
those.
Nightmare and Last House on the Left and like
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Hills Have Eyes, you got all these like genre defining movies,
Right.
and then you start getting into these things. You know, the other ones that he was doing,
Yeah.
they weren't being reviewed that well. He
No.
was kind of starting to stagnate. Then, you know, I'll never say thank God for an actual serial killer outside of this. Thank you so much to the Gainesville Ripper.
Yeah.
Thank you for the news who like were reporting on it.
Mhm.
And thank you, Kevin Williamson, for watching that newscast. Because I don't know if y'all know this. That's what inspired him to write Scream.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Gainesville Ripper in Florida, series of murders
Right.
from these college kids. He was watching a news story about that, and that inspired him to write Scream.
Yep.
And he got paid, I think he got paid $400,000 for that script.
Wow.
That's how valuable that script was. And
Yeah.
it went to freaking Wes Craven, and
Rest is
what,
history.
27 years later, we're still talking about it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's just garnered a huge cult following, man. I mean, the legacy, it just took off, man. It just took off. Like I mean, lightning in a bottle. I mean,
It
that's what
really
that
is.
was. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and because it is a true horror movie, and yet it still has moments of just levity and humor, but not
Comedy.
at the expense of horror. And that's what I love about it. Like Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson are like true horror fans, And so they still respected the genre while still doing something original and creative, and giving you like these characters that are so well written. And just you have that Randy character that's like us, he's the horror fan telling us the rules and everything. We're like, yes, that guy knows what he's talking about. But then you also see them pay respects to Halloween. And I love in the beginning with Drew Barrymore, where Ghostface is calling her and she's like, "What's your favorite?" And he's like, "Nightmare on Elm Street." And it's like, was that the guy with the claws? Yeah, Freddy Krueger. Knowing that Wes Craven did Nightmare on Elm Street, and
Wes
now it's
Craven
like,
was he was Fred later on,
yes,
like the
yes,
cameo as
yes.
Fred
I
wearing the
love
sweater,
it, dude. It's so cool. I love that, man.
like
Uh,
yeah, it is a true horror, but they add those
yes,
things in there and it
yes,
fits. Like it
it
didn't feel out of
does.
place.
Right, right. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was at the expense of anything. And I also love that they had the balls to like RIP the poster child of the movie. Like you think Drew Barrymore is a star by this point, and she's the poster child, and you're like, okay, so this is going to be Drew Barrymore's story. And then she gets RIP'd like 15 minutes into the movie, and you're just like, oh, where did that come from? Like it just,
And they're still talking about that today. Did you see
yeah.
a Totally Killer last year
No,
with
I
Jen
missed
and
that
Shit?
one.
The time you should check it out. It's a fun
Yeah.
one. It's not like
Okay.
the best movie out there, but it's a fun one. It's a imagine if like Back to the Future was a slasher.
Okay.
Um but there's a point where like she goes back into the past and she's asking him, "Have you seen Scream?" And
Really?
she's like, "No, I haven't seen it." She goes, "Oh, it's just this movie where you think it stars oh god, Drew Barrymore, but it doesn't
Yeah.
actually." And like
Yeah.
it's like a line in passing, but I'm like, they're still talking about that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. It's
It's like
so cool, man. I
it's that influential, man.
Yes. But then what was cool was that they were able to, after Drew Barrymore's gone, you start like logically you would start thinking, okay, well, who are they going to get to replace her? But then they get Neve Campbell, who's just this phenomenal final girl, and you're like, she's perfect. Like, yes, I'm totally invested with her. Yeah, man. And then Billy, into just the duo of Billy and Stu together, you're just, how crazy they get by the end, where they're just stabbing each other just for kicks, and you're just like, dude, these guys are just fucking animals, man. They're dogs, bro.
And the
Um,
actors, sweet
oh,
as can be, dude. They're so nice.
you would never think that they would be
No,
serial killers, man.
no.
That's crazy.
Did you know? Did you know Ski Orge actually spoiled it?
Did he really?
So it never got out. But he was telling the story in a recent interview.
Uh-huh.
He had just done a movie and he auditioned and got Scream,
Hmm.
and he was doing press for the movie he had done previously, and they're like, talk to about what's coming on, what he's got going on and everything. He's like, yeah, I'm finishing up this movie now, and then I got another movie lined up where I play a serial killer, and
Oh no.
then he goes home and he realizes it, so he calls his publicist, and the publicist has to get to them to keep them from running the story.
Revealing it.
But at that
Wow.
point, like no one had ever heard of the movie or anything, so he's
Right.
like, okay. So yeah, he actually spoiled it, but
That's
ended up getting it
crazy.
saved. He's like, I'm doing this movie where I play a
Woo.
serial. I'm like, bro, can you
Man.
imagine how pissed Wes Craven would have been?
Dude, yeah, that would have been, yeah, that would have
But
been
that was,
bad.
of course, that was like pre-internet age,
Right,
so
right, yeah,
time it moved a lot slower back then. But
right, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, dude, that first Scream is just a classic. Um, Adrian saying Miss Loomis, best killer reveal the franchise from part two.
I
Okay,
gotta disagree, man. She's up there. She's up there for
yeah.
me. Stu Macher. Stu Macher is
Oh,
gonna,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because at that
Yeah.
point you're not expecting two killers. You know who your killer is already.
Right,
It's Billy
right,
Loomis. And then when Stu pops up, like I said, my first thought was how good she's got someone to help her.
right.
And then when he pulls that voice changer up, and you're like, oh
So good.
my God.
There's two of them. because there hadn't been two killers like that before. So when you see two, you're like, what?
And it did something, in my opinion, way scarier than the others. So like Michael, we may say he's not paranormal or supernatural or anything.
Mm.
Something's up with Michael. He's not a regular guy.
Oh, for sure, for
Same
sure.
thing with Jason. Same thing with Freddy. Same thing with like Leatherface. For the most part, is normal, but there's
Right,
something odd about him. Scream showed you it could just be two people in your high school who are having a bad day. Like those are the real monsters.
right. You don't have to
Like
go over
Michael
the
doesn't
top.
exist.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah,
like yeah, that was a huge thing for me too, making it like
like real, like that sense of
yeah,
like
yeah,
this
like
is
this could
believable. I can
you
buy
could
that.
have two people in your high school right now, and sadly in the real world now there are cases of this where people, high schoolers have done some atrocious things like this,
Yeah,
and you see the people, they'll interview like their some students that were in their class and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I
right.
had no idea. It's so terrifying that they're just there, and that brought a real fear to it, in my opinion, because it's just
Yeah,
like homicidal maniacs in reality don't look like Michael Myers
right.
or Jason Voorhees or Freddy. They look like every other person, and
Yep.
that's terrifying.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, for sure. Great point on that. Jerry's asking 5 star. Yeah, for the original Jerry, you better believe it, bro. That first one's definitely a 5 star film for me. Um,
As it should be, man.
as it should be. Should be for everybody. Dom saying Scream introduced two killers in a slasher film that no one expected. Yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like you didn't see two coming. So when Stu comes in with that, that walkie, you're just yeah, crazy, man. And then of course Jerry's bugging with his wrong turn. Um, Jerry, you're gonna make me. You're gonna make
So
me
I'm gonna do the video on the wrong turn franchise too. I'm calling it the report card.
the
That's what is
report.
that that's
Okay,
what the series is gonna be. It's
I
like a
like it.
franchise report card, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
yeah.
over everything. So I'm gonna do one on wrong turn just for Jerry.
Jerry, I can't promise you that I can bring myself to go through that entire franchise again, but I will try to get a review of the original Wrong Turn.
The
And
first one's
the
pretty
first one.
good.
The first one I like. First one I can kick it with. So I'll give you a wrong turn review, Jerry. That one I can do. Dom saying Ghostface can exist. That's why it's scary.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Jerry's excited
Technically,
about
I mean, you could argue Ghostface has existed. I don't know if you've
yeah.
seen the case.
Now so I've heard of the case. I haven't like looked at it in depth, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
Two high schoolers who were they had some
Some problems, some
some mental issues, mental health issues, and they
Yeah.
decided they wanted to unalive someone, and they picked one of their high school student friends.
Crazy,
She
man.
was house sitting. They recorded themselves after, and even referenced the Scream movies as one of their inspirations to do it. So yeah, man, it's like it can exist, and arguably it has, and
Yeah.
that's what's terrifying. Like I'm not scared of Michael. Like in the movies, he's scary, but like I
Right.
don't worry
Like
about
in
that.
real life. Right.
Yeah, I don't worry about that walking up on me, while I'm getting gas at 7-Eleven at night.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very fair. Um, dude, this was fun, man. This
It's
this was
dude,
fun.
I could talk about Scream for hours.
Oh yeah,
For
yeah. I
hours.
I love Scream, man. And I don't really get to talk about it enough
Mhm.
because, like on my channel, I'm a big Halloween guy. And friends and people always want to talk Halloween and stuff. But like, I love Scream. Yeah, I love the whole franchise. I was glad I was able to do this one, and I knew you being a big Screen fan, I was like, I got to get Eric on this one to do because he'll enjoy it, and I'll enjoy playing off him. And yeah, man,
I'm
this was fun,
pretty
dude.
sure this entire top row here's me with the Scream people.
That's awesome, dude.
And that's Randy. There's Randy.
That's
That's
awesome,
actually
dude.
me with Nick Castle. And that's me with James Hugh Courtney.
Oh, oh,
Bro, we
make
gotta
me
get you. We gotta
jelly,
get you to
bro.
Scarefest. We gotta
Make
get you
me
to
jelly.
Scarefest.
Yeah, dude. I'm
Like
jelly.
they're the nicest, dude. James Jude, every woman who came up
Oh, yeah.
called her baby. How you doing, baby? And was
He's a
like, and like,
stud.
I'm like, this dude could have any woman in this
He's
line
a
right now.
stud, bro. He's
He
a
he is,
stud, man.
dude. He's so nice too.
He's
Like,
the nicest guy ever.
so here's what I did, right? So his table, his booth, and Nick Castle's booth were right next to each other. Those two
Yeah.
hang out all the
Oh
time.
yeah, they're good friends.
And it was me and Killjoy Jake. Do you know Killjoy Jake?
Name sounds really familiar. I feel
He's another YouTuber. He's a really cool guy. But we met him together. And as we were getting an autograph and everything, Killjoy Jake's like, "Don't tell anyone, but you're my favorite, Michael." And he immediately goes, Nick, did you hear what he just said? And like, he was so nice, right?
That's awesome.
And then I'm like, who is your favorite Michael?
Yeah.
And he goes, pointing to Nick, he goes, but
Cool.
everyone who played Michael brought something good to the role. And I'm like, that's the diplomatic answer. And this is the exact conversation I have. But like, some of them didn't do that great. Like, not all of them got their butt whipped by Busta Rhymes. And he's like, hey, Busta's a big guy. He's like, I'm not gonna take anything away from him. Like, he was just so nice about everything.
Dude, he's the nicest guy, bro.
And yeah, dude, it was, and the meeting Nick Castle, like, I didn't meet him in line at Scarefest. We were out having dinner afterward, and the bar like we were at, Nick Castle, him, and the dude who played Child Michael in part 1 were sitting at a table together having dinner. They were at a table together having dinner, and like they walk over, or Nick Castle gets up because I guess he's done, and walk over, and we're like, hey, so what do 3 Michael Myers talk about?
Yeah, right.
At dinner, and he goes, "Oh, we were just discussing how I make more money than all of them." and dude, we just had we're just like, "Hey, do you mind if we get a photo?" He's like, "Not at all." And like, we all got a group together, and we had a photo with him, and they're just legitimately the nicest guys, man. We got to get you to a Scarefest so you can meet these dudes.
I got to meet both. Those are my 2 favorite Michaels, man. I never thought anybody would top Nick for me, because for the longest time, like, Nick Castle was like,
oh, he's
nobody's stopping that dude. James Hugh Courtney, for me, it's James and Nick, like right there. The 2 of them together. For me, I tend to give a slight edge to James, because he's a little bit bigger, and I feel like he brings the veracity of like Tyler Maine's Michael, but still has the glide and the movement of Nick Castle. Like, he still embodies the shape the way that Nick did, but brings the veracity and just that aggression, savagery that Tyler Maine did. So he kind of brings the best of both. That's why I give him a slight edge. But man, every time I watch that OG Halloween, I'm like, yeah, Nick's the guy, bro. Nick's the freaking guy.
Bro, we gotta get you to Scarefest. What are you doing at the end of October?
Dude, I want to be going to Scarefest. Is what I want to be doing.
5 Michaels going to be there?
Was it
James Jude, Nick Castle, Dick Warlock. Tyler Maine is going to be there.
I was going to say probably.
I think there's one more.
Well, it would have to be because George P. Wilbur's dead. He died.
I think Tom Morga. I think he did stunts. Maybe I don't think he was like a full-time Mike. Like,
he was
Michael,
a stunt.
But yeah, he's going to be there. So, dude, there's 5 Michaels there.
Man,
there's 5 Michaels. There's going to be like 4 or 5 Ghostface, like 5 Leatherfaces, like 5 Jasons. Like, cool. Dude, it is.
I want to
stacked already. Dermot Mulroney from Scream 6 is going to be there.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Dude, awesome.
Heck
we'll
yeah,
talk,
dude.
Man. We'll talk.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for kicking it with us. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Eric, thanks for being on the channel, bro.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
doing
me,
it.
man. This was
Oh,
a
dude,
wonderful time.
you're always welcome. Yeah, we'll have to do it again sometime.
I'll have you over on my channel. We'll rank Halloweens.
There you go. And I'm all for that.
That's a
Anytime.
big endeavor. That's a big
It
endeavor,
is.
man.
It
You got
is.
what, 12 or 13 of them?
Yes, and I have very strong feelings towards
As much as
certain
I
Halloween
talked for
movies.
Scream, you're gonna be talking for even that. We're gonna have like
Yeah.
a 4-hour stream just trying to get through every Halloween movie.
After the first one, you're gonna be like, I probably shouldn't have brought this guy on
We're gonna
here.
break this up into a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Love all you guys. Thanks for being here. Go check out Eric's channel. And until next time, kick it, baby, and rock on.